Okay, so here's the black beans that I buy. I just get the regular old 1-pound bag from my grocery store, and I wash them off and pick through them, make sure there's no little rocks or bits in there. And then I want to cover them with about 1.5 inches of water. Here the beans are in the inner pot. I drop the inner pot into the eye pot, and I'm going to use the saute mode to bring the water to a boil. Now it doesn't need to be a rolling boil, the water just needs to be good and hot. Okay, so I hit the saute mode, and then you see it automatically goes to normal heat, which is like medium high on your stove. But when you hit the adjust button, you can take that heat higher to more. Did you know that it has 3 heat settings? That's right, you can saute in low, medium, or high heat. All right, here's the water's coming to a boil, so I want to cancel the saute mode by hitting the keep warm cancel button once. Then I just go off and do other stuff for about an hour. 1 hour later, the black beans have soaked just right. All right, here's they are. I've drained off the water, and this is what they look like after they've soaked for an hour. They've plumped up just fine. And then I'm going to start seasoning them. So I felt like using 3 cloves of garlic that have been chopped. This is like my most basic recipe. 2 yellow onions that I've wet chopped in my Vitamix blender because I was feeling lazy. 1 tablespoon of apple flavored liquid smoke. Many of you are not surprised. Then 1/2 tablespoon of Mexican oregano, which is the strongest flavored oregano. I really like that stuff for beans. And then 1 teaspoon of salt. Now that's completely optional. If you want to save putting salt in your beans till you use it in another recipe, that's fine. Okay, and then I just want to cover the beans with 1 inch of water. So I do that by pouring some water in there, and I use my finger and I stick it in the water, and when my finger hits the top of the beans, if the water goes above my knuckle, I know I have 1 inch of water. That's my rule of measure. Then I want to check my lid before I put it on, make sure that my seal is properly seated in the lid and that it's going around that little metal wire there, and that my cover is clean. And I just drop that lid on, lock it into place, and then make sure the steam release handle is pointing to ceiling. And make sure your steam release handle is seated properly too. All right, next we need to turn it on. So we're going to hit manual to kick it into high pressure, or to turn on the high pressure. And then we're going to use the minus key to take the cooking time down to 20 minutes. Now it's going to take a little bit of time, probably about 10 minutes or so, for the Instapot to heat up and come to pressure. That metal rod will come up and to lock the pressure into the pot, and then the cooking time will begin. Once the cooking time's over, the iPot likes to kick into keep warm mode. And you see the button is lit for keep warm. Now, I tend to go off and do other stuff and forget what I'm doing. So here you can see that on the timer, it's been 49 minutes since the cooking time was over. The pressure has gone down. You saw the metal lid the metal rod had dropped down. And now I can safely open up the iPot. Look at those pretty beans. So pretty. Now I just want to take a quick moment to explain the 3 types, the 3 ways to release pressure from your iPot. We have quick release, which is once the cooking time has finished on the iPot, you can turn the steam release handle to venting, do it very carefully, and the steam will escape out of that steam release handle. It takes about a minute for the steam or the pressure, well, the steam and the pressure to come to release from the iPot. After that, the metal rod will drop down, and then you can safely take off the lid. Now, I'll just tell you, if the metal rod is up on your lid, you can't take the lid off. The Instapot is super safe. Nothing's going to happen to you, okay? But you do need to be careful that when you turn the steam release handle and you know steam is going to escape, you don't want to put your hands over it, and you certainly don't want to have your face over it or anything like that. That is hot steam. The second way to release steam is called the 10-minute natural release method. That's where you wait 10 minutes after the cooking time is finished, and then you turn the steam release handle to venting, and then let the remaining pressure or steam in the pot to escape out. The metal rod drops down, and then you can take the lid off. The third method is just natural release. That's when, like I've done here, I just kind of forget that I've got something in the iPot and I go on about my way and the pressure goes down on the iPot on its own. Now that typically takes about 25 to 30 minutes maybe, probably about that time, because the Instapot kicks into keep warm mode after it's finished pressure cooking. So really the iPot is still cooking and keeping things hot. So that's why it takes so long for that pressure to go down. So once again, we have quick release, we have 10-minute natural release, and we have natural release. So when you're on Facebook and you're reading about Instapot recipes in those Instapot groups and you hear people talk about quick release, 10-minute natural release, or natural release, that's what they're talking about. Okay, let's go back to cooking. So I've been pressure cooking for 20 years. So I want to just share with you how I know when my beans are cooked. When I take the beans up out of the pot and I blow on the beans, the skin on the beans roll back when they're perfectly cooked. I love that. That has worked for me for years. Okay, there's our black beans, perfectly cooked and ready to go into something. You could eat them straight up. The onions and garlic make plenty of flavor, and you could certainly make up some rice or do whatever you want, make a salad. It's totally up to you. Now here I just want to show you that I just get out 2 plastic containers and I evenly divide the beans. And by the time I'm finished, I think I had about 5 cups of beans in each one of these containers. And now I'm ready to go. I'm gonna go ahead, I didn't need these beans right away. I just cooked them up to show you how to make black beans. So I took these beans and I put them up in the freezer, and I'm probably gonna turn one into a black bean enchilada recipe, and then I'll use the other one in a soup or something like that. That's how I'm gonna roll. All right, I hope you found this helpful, and please holler for me anytime you have questions about cooking with your iPod, or if you want to talk about plant-based cooking, whatever. I'm always online Monday through Friday. Again, I hope you found this video helpful. Please thumbs up and share it with your other iPod friends. Bye.